Oh, it sees a bunch of. Okay. So if somebody has comments, there's a comment section too. I don't do Facebook, so I
I don't do
I
that.
don't do Facebook either.
don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I hate Facebook.
Okay. Oh, I answer the comments, I don't know.
I think you do. You need to get someone.
Well, I'm actually surprised it has that because they're not allowed to comment during the actual meeting.
They can just post comments, they're not gonna, so it's up to you if you want to answer, you know what I mean? You can answer. You can
I
answer.
did. Hey, people.
Anybody here from Krista?
Can we text the other day?
I've not.
Yep.
Krista?
They're at my shop. The heads are at my shop.
Huh?
The heads are at my shop. The new heads are at my shop.
Okay. You wanna give me a poll, you want me to find a poll?
There's no pole. He's gonna put a pipe up alongside the building, they told me.
Yeah. I thought we were moving on all over.
Oh, I didn't know that. I can find a pole.
We remove it, 20 foot or whatever.
Now that we're arranged a little differently, how are we,
Oh,
when we get reports from public works, when we get reports from law enforcement, we
They can stand up. Well, like you can, when Dave was talking, it went,
Yeah.
so, I don't know, I can already want to do it.
You enjoying that new pool, Krista?
The best $150 I've ever spent for like a 30-inch 12-foot. Amazing. I'm like, just go swimming, children. They're out there for hours. 30 inches.
Oh, 30 inches.
Yeah. But we took and we put like sand down and then we put styrofoam down. So then the bottom is super soft. Kids love it.
Does that help with the leveling too?
Well, we don't have like a level spot in our entire yard. So we had to like fill up the whole flower bed. It was exciting.
I saw you out there a couple weeks in a row, just getting ready.
It was exciting.
Suppose if they can't be in front of the camera to just acknowledge who's speaking. I don't know. Like if Swither's gonna be here, you can sit there and go. Whoever's talking.
Figure it out.
Pass this back over to you.
We're live, Tom.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah.
As it is 7 o'clock, we will officially call this meeting to order. Everyone's had a opportunity to review the minutes from last meeting and the claims for payment. I'll entertain a motion.
So,
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes from the July meeting as well as the claims for payment. Any further discussion? None heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Land use permits. We'll do the Young Krantz permit at 331 Cherry Avenue first.
Dusty and I found pins on the corner of the properties and, we're 100% confident of what we marked out. The homeowner was surprised, local homeowners were surprised, including me. But, they know where the property lines are and they're gonna stay quite a ways back from them, so I don't see no reason to, have any issues with the permit. property lines run skew through those lots, they're not square.
Okay, and then the land use permit for 710 South 10th Street.
We're gonna approve those together.
Do you want them separate? Or is it?
We didn't have a motion on that.
I know, I thought we just do them together.
I
Since
can't,
there was no
Dave,
issues.
what's the report on that one?
Yeah, I met with Smokey, who, that's the church parsonage duplex, and, he would have, you know, because original plans he submitted, he would have been encroaching on our right of way. And he backed off on the fence and stuff, and it works, he knows where his property lines are, there is a pin on his property, so he's good with that, so I'm 100% on that one as well.
So this is the corrected.
Yeah, and he's gonna go with a 3-foot wide fence instead of a 6-foot wide fence. And he'll be 16 inches back from the property line.
Knowing that, I'll make a motion, we approve both land use permits.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to approve both the land use permits, one at 331 Cherry Avenue, the second at 710 South 10th Street. Any further discussion? None heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Open forum. I don't see anyone here that wishes to speak on any issue. Does the council wish to add anything to the agenda at this time? Not, we'll move forward to item number 2, the quarterly law enforcement.
Good evening. I'll start out by talking about our contract hours. Just looking at May, June, and July. May was a little bit short for us. There was some scheduling issues for us. We are once again full staffed. Again, excited to be back full staff, and I think that was reflected again on June and July as our hours came up significantly. Previously, we had talked about unregistered vehicles in the city. On the 17th of June, I did issue 4 citations, one at 1060 Highway Avenue, one at 615 8th Street South, one at 55 Main Street North, and one at 320 Main Street South. Deb, do you know if any of those have been taken care of?
No, they have not.
They have not. The one for 615 8th Street South was mailed to an address that was believed to be current in Texas, and that was returned a couple weeks later. As far as my survey in town yesterday, those vehicles remain unregistered at all over the property. I'm sorry, I take that back. At 1060 Highway Avenue, that vehicle has been taken care of.
That's the sheet that was on top of your, yeah. And that lot that we're talking about, that came back would have been the one between Bill Roll, that vacant lot, between Bill Roll and is it Neeson, Mickey Neeson. We had all kinds of trouble. That's the one we had to try to find them and we couldn't, so we had to put ads in the paper.
So what are our options on like that one for sure is abandoned? I mean, do we have, you put it in, haven't told them to put it in storage, but I mean, we end up paying that bill, I'm assuming. Well, that's not worth anything.
I would assume the vehicle would be worth something in scrap.
Right.
We previously abated that property, that was maybe 2 years ago now. Those vehicles there was 4 of them at that time, they were all taken by Ed's Towing, and Ed's took care of them from there. I don't know that we ever heard another word from Ed's on it. Eventually, they became abandoned, they forced titles, and they sold them. We're down to 1 vehicle there this time. I have talked to the person who owns that vehicle. I do not believe that person is an owner of this property.
I was going to ask, where did this vehicle come from
Yeah,
if it was,
exactly.
the property was cleared off
So
the
the
last?
vehicle is actually still registered to the city of Olivia because it was a forfeiture. It was purchased from the city of Olivia by Dependable Autos in Hector, and it was then sold to this gentleman who, I believe, 5-6 miles down the road, the engine blew and he pulled it into this lot.
So do we have contact information for him to have it?
I don't believe I have current contact information for him.
We just have to follow the process for when we have an unknown.
Yeah.
that okay with the people? As far as the other issues, there would be, the two properties remain non-compliant. The next step in that process would be to have our city attorney file a motion for summary enforcement of the order through the district court. So that would be the next step. That's when the attorney gets involved in.
I have some pictures for you guys on the properties, so this one will be 628th Street South.
How long has it been like that, Tom? Approximately, do you know? They're taking-
Going back to March, I would say, I know there's been progress there, but it still remains at least half of it still remains there. Looks like there's some furniture there as well. This one's gonna be 155 Main Street North.
And this one is.
This is ongoing.
This is a.
This is ongoing.
This one, this one's been on our radar a couple times.
It has. I think in the past, he has actually made enough progress that we've taken him off the list, and this year it seems like there's absolutely no progress. You know, he was very upset about getting a citation for the unregistered vehicle there.
The only thing we can do with those, the vehicle situation is, if they're unpaid, it's in our ordinance that we can assess those to the property taxes. That's what we've done in the past. So that's what we're gonna do. Do we keep issuing citations in or what?
Citations don't seem to have.
I know,
much of
you
a
don't,
point.
I don't.
During the month of July, we did do another abatement at 1060 Highway Avenue at that time. The property owner was cited with a state citation for the ordinance violation as well as garbage in the yard.
I was referring to the unlicensed vehicle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know, it might be something to consult with the attorney.
What has our policy been? After X number of citations, then it goes to the next step?
We've
Or is
never
it-
had a next step. If they don't pay them, then they just go to the assessed taxes. So
So how many citations do they get before that happens?
I think we've only just been doing one,
Just one citation that remains unpaid?
one a year.
Consider the matter closed for the year.
Would you say these are the same vehicles that have been there year after year, then, or not?
Yeah, I would.
I think the one
Like
that
in the
reached,
case of the 615 8th Street South, that's a new vehicle
Yeah.
for this year.
the 320 Main Street South.
There's probably 3 that are unregistered there, and it's a continuing
Yeah,
issue with
yeah.
that property.
Ones have already been issued citations?
1060 Highway Avenue, 615 8th Street South, 155 Main Street North, and 320 Main Street South.
So, what I'm understanding, unregistered vehicles, now that we've done citation, then after we've done that, we can move on to our next step, then, correct?
Well, are we talking about, what are we talking about? The nuisance or the
Unregistered
unlicensed?
vehicle,
Those, we would just assess the unpaid citation to the taxes. That's,
which we do in November, right?
yeah.
And if it's taken care of before November,
Well, if they pay it, then they pay it, or if it's taken care of. Well,
Well, they
okay,
still
take
have the
that back. They
citation.
still have a citation, so that still, it's, yeah,
Regardless of whether they take care of the vehicle,
right.
the citation, it's not, if it remains
Right.
unpaid, still goes
Right.
to the taxes.
Can we jump back up to the abated properties then? Question, Deb, regarding the email we got today about the 1060 Highway Avenue, and then we haven't not assessed anything for any of the work we've done for this last year yet. We won't do this in November.
That'll be
correct?
November, he'll get a bill,
Right, so I'm saying that will be added on to
Yep.
that, but not till November.
correct, for
We have- We must
taxes,
have quite a bit
for
of
taxes 2020.
dollar value. in
Yeah, the
that.
sheriff's department is taking care of whatever, or Dave gave me whatever their hours, so we keep track, yeah.
I'm sure it's no different than 615, you probably never got that money back, if it never grabbed that property, right? That
Well, we'll
property
be on the
cleanup,
taxes, I guess I have
That's
to
what I'm
check to see
saying.
if they paid the taxes. They have been, because it's a vacant lot, the taxes aren't very high.
Yeah.
Until this year, so.
As far as the unregistered vehicles, since it's already in our policy to go
Yeah,
forward
you
with
don't-
that, do we need a council motion?
We'll
Just
just,
move forward with
yeah.
it.
I will check with the attorney to see if there's other things that we can do, like get rid of them, whatever the process is for that. These are perpetual problems, a lot of them,
well,
so.
that would be one way of
Yeah.
paying the citation a little bit.
Yeah.
Poor one's threatening that word.
So no council action needs to be taken.
Not on that, but if you want to move forward with the attorney on the orders for abatement, those properties all received the 30-day notice of the order to abate, and those two are non-compliant yet, so the next step is to have the attorney start the process of filing a motion with the court for enforcement.
I'll make that motion, I think that we owe it to our citizens to try to do what we can.
We're talking about the two that are non-compliant,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, I'll second that.
Motion and a second to proceed with an order for abatement on the 1060 Highway Avenue as well as the 320 Main Street South. Any further discussion?
Actually,
Yes.
Julia would be the bottom two.
Yeah, it's 6.
155 and
155.
Oh, it's the bottom two,
Yeah.
okay. So
There-
the
as far as-
155 Main Street
Yeah.
and 620 South.
1060, we already have gotten a court order that's a perpetual, so
Okay.
anytime that they're in non-compliance, we can go on the property to
Okay,
clean up.
so the non-compliant are the bottom two.
Yes,
That's the one that I was talking about.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second to move forward with abatement on 155 Main Street North, correct?
yes, that should be.
And 620 South 8th Street. Any further discussion? Not heard, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Anything else for us?
I don't have anything else unless you guys have questions.
Council have anything for Deputy Sweeter? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Move on to item number 3, discussion on the ballpark complex, the track maintenance.
So Deb Mark sent me this email that she's trying to get some finances to help pay for putting the red ball diamond aggregate on the running track. I told her the direction the council had taken at the last meeting to try, I believe it was a tryout a different product on the north side. Did that get done, Dave, or?
No, we've been waiting for rain so we can run the compactor. So I expect that will all be in place by the end of the week.
Is that what that pile of stuff is there? Okay, and that's gonna go on the north side.
That's the man sand that Bill was talking about, yeah.
How much does that stuff cost?
I wanna say it was $16 a ton. Something like that.
And where did that come from?
Gordy Service gravel pit. yeah.
We talked about this aggregate that Deb recommended, or she'd like to see put down. refresh my memory. If it gets driven on, what happens to it?
Well, it'll compact, I mean, if there's a base underneath it, yeah.
So it is okay to drive on it, or it's not okay to drive on it?
Well, if you have wanted us to remove all the base that's there, then it wouldn't be. Okay,
Like we talked last time, we have a really good base right now for that truck.
Right.
10 grand, so.
So if this aggregate just goes over the top of it,
we don't know. I can tell you that had we removed the base and gotten this to a train, there would be wash ruts in it. That's all it was.
because we know people are going to drive on it. They use that for access to the,
So Dave, the rain typically, we've had a bad year for rain, but is there any other way, I mean, can you water it, get a water truck down there and do it without that if we continue to have no rain? Or do we have to always wait for
We
rain?
just got the rain we need to, the ground is soft enough, we can come back, Jeff.
Okay,
And yes, we can haul water.
water's in short supply right now.
So by next meeting, we should have an idea if that product's gonna work then.
Any further discussion on that, by the council? All right, we'll move on to Minnesota drought warning phase.
Okay, so everybody got that information, from DNR and Department of Health. They're requiring if you're, I believe it's requiring if you're 1,000 or more. If I read that right. And if you're under, all water suppliers receiving this are being asked to begin implementing demand reduction actions with the goal of reducing water use to 50% above January levels. Which interestingly enough, when I looked back in 2020, when it was a normal year, I guess I would say, right? We still wouldn't have made this, the 50% above. It's just that people just use more water in June, July, and August, so I don't know. But anyway, in your packet would have been the ordinance that was passed back in 2009. So we do have something on the books if you would want to go ahead and institute what's in that ordinance. We would put it on Facebook and radio, paper.
What have we seen as far as an increase in water usage?
Dawn would be better to ask about that. Well, Dave knows about how much we found, so.
What was the question?
What kind of increase have we seen in water usage?
Our usage is very normal to last year. People aren't going above and beyond watering their lawns. I mean, you can simply see that by driving around town, so no one, in my opinion, is using excess,
so do you think,
except the ballpark.
Except
He's been talked to.
I seen that.
The ballpark season's done. so-
we get the numbers, monthly, you bring in the report, and that, to me, they weren't standing out as being exceptionally more.
No, I look back to them and looked at it, and they're not, nobody's using more than their share.
And as far as the well water levels, they don't look like they're going.
We are being very good in
So-
comparison to our well interference from years ago, yeah. But I think it is prudent we do something, so it's not just our neighbor, bigger city doing something, we're all pulling off the same vein.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I think it, because, my opinion is because DNR recommended it, and again, to your point, Dave, everybody is doing it, including, everybody in the city is doing it too. So, I think we should implement it for the time being. I think that we should do our part, even though we don't have to because we're under 1,000. Is what I'm hearing from
So
them.
basically, it's just saying that, you go by odd and even.
Right.
And this information will be posted on our
Post it on Facebook.
website.
We have to put it in the paper because that's in the ordinance, and then call the radio station as well. Yeah, you can post it on the website too, so those 4 avenues of notification. Would you have a like, if the DNR would then take away the drought warning, we could then cancel that, right? Is that what you're saying?
In that respect, basically. I
Okay.
think that, I'd like to implement ordinance 204 for the next 6 days or until DNR lists for drought warning.
Motion on the table, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second to implement ordinance 204, placing restrictions on water consumption.
But are we still gonna allow lawns to be watered or?
Every other day.
Every,
Every other
if
day.
you're even number, then you do an even, your address, yeah.
And you can always water your garden.
I just know like Olivia banned like watering lawns, but they could still water like trees, shrubs, flowers, but they can't water lawns. So that's why I didn't know if we would need to do something along those lines as
I
well.
think we go by number 2. We just go by number 2, it's odd even.
It shows that we're doing something, I think.
Sounds excellent.
So the motion and the second is to the effect for the next 60 days or until the drought warning has been lifted. Any further discussion?
I guess I was gonna ask David. Yes, I think that's a good.
I think it goes with that we're on record that we're doing something and proactive about it.
I think 6 days is about right, don't you?
satisfying. I think that
It's a
we
fall.
got right on the nose, yeah.
There's no further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The MPCA compliance evaluation.
This was for more than 1 year now, right? Usually they were doing this annually.
Yeah, I was confused
Yeah.
when I read back because it looks like these violations were in what, 2017?
Well, the one,
20
when we had,
19.
the one bypassed, yep. So there hadn't been a
So
guy
we're
here.
going back that far and then now telling us we were non-compliant?
And his excuse for that when he was here is we just haven't had people here. You've been a good system, we're not worried about you, but we have to do this and bring you up to date. So it was 4.5 years here that we reviewed.
And
And the actual, are there fines with this? No fines?
the way I'm understanding this, if I'm understanding it right, we don't have to respond either? Okay, because the responses were listed in the letter, so they're saying whatever's written in there, that's what we need to comply with, but we don't need to do anything further.
Which we already have for the last 2 years.
Right. What's not for some, I mean, there's a current, I think that the pH was there one pH violation in 2021?
Multiple pH violations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's been a chronic
Chronic,
offense,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it's informational.
All right. Council have any questions? Or,
So do we,
Maybe.
so we don't, we don't have to do anything including respond or anything at all? Just,
That's the way I understood it. Usually we have to respond.
so I was surprised that too.
Yeah.
So is there, I guess when I read through the report, I had one question. Is there a reason why we didn't do DMRs? I mean, that seemed, in the yearly report, it seemed like something that we
Do we what?
we missed DMR.
There was a couple that were late, I think.
Or, I think
Actually,
they were like 30 days late, I think I looked.
there, just so you know, there's 2 reports. So it was actually 2 different times
Okay.
that they were late. Yeah.
I was wondering, what I was asking, is that seems like such a thing that we could not get written up on. That's why I was asking the question.
That's just a matter, Dave, isn't it, of just running the tests and submitting the data?
Yeah,
That
it's,
entails.
what we're doing is a 2-step process. I have to wait for my data to give it to them. And it has to be in by the 21st every month, otherwise it's a flag. Sometimes we're waiting to the 10th of the month for the test results, so time issue gets to be a crunch.
And the tests have to be conducted on specific times of the month? Or does it? Moving on to item number 6 on the agenda. The estimate for reseeding the grass.
Okay, just
Um,
so you know, we have spent, I don't know how long, trying to find a contractor to help us get some idea on what we can do for this area in front here, because it's looked horrible. And for the concrete work, which we've talked to numerous contractors and still haven't gotten a bid yet. So anyway, that's been ongoing. So we finally got Picture Perfect to give us a bid. I don't know if this is something we can do in-house, Dave, can we, or not?
Well, previous councils talked about that area out there and, my suggestion back then, I'll still stick with it. I'd like to see pavers out there next to the building, and a bench out there. There's always people, waiting to get picked up out front or waiting to get in and no place to sit and stuff. So I'd like to see some type of a seating area or some type of thing out there when kids are waiting for their parents to pick up. I don't know that grass is the best choice there. When we cut it, it blows all over the place. We use a lot of salt in the entryway here, and that's gonna kill the grass. I don't know if that was mentioned in Precision Perfect Landscape, if there is some salt resistant grasses out there according to MnDOT that we might wanna look at in that area too. I discussed it with Dusty Lynch. He thought that we'd probably be best to leave the grass up next to the building and take away the stuff by the curb and turn that into concrete will make it look more appealing, seating area out that way. It's his idea, so multiple ideas. We're not gonna be able to establish grass underneath the pine tree. I mean, that's gonna be acidic soil there, so it's just gonna have to be, if you want to put the wood chips underneath that on an annual basis, that would work. Trim it up a little bit.
And this would have to be done in the fall, correct?
Fall or spring.
Fall, spring.
Do we want to look at getting estimates as far as some other landscaping?
I was wondering, yeah, I mean, beautification or
Look at,
something.
yeah. Maybe
Should
look
we
at
just
paper-
try to get it to look somewhat nice? No, just like I said, we tried for 2 years to get somebody in just for the concrete stuff. I don't know that spending some money on some grass seed just to try to get it to look halfway decent isn't a bad idea. I don't know. Somebody else wants to. I don't know. You got an idea on somebody who does landscape that we haven't called? I'd be happy to. I don't know what maybe you want to come up with some sort of a diagram or plan or, I don't know. I just thought if we can get some grass growing, at least it won't look as crappy as it has the
It
last
does look
5 years.
unsightly.
And weeds it's more weeds than it is grass. It just looks terrible.
As far as the grass and the salt resistance, I would think that Picture Perfect would be able to give you a recommendation on that. I mean, they do this all the time. I would hope they would be able to give us the right kind of grass seed for that. I would hope.
I would think that they would be in the know. And keep in mind, we salt in front of the fire hall, and the road quite heavily ends up on the bank, and you're up there with equipment, taking it off all the time too, so whatever we do is we have to support the equipment to be able to bounce back. So the frost is just killing the grass and the dryness and letting the weeds grow, and I agree, it looks bad.
And it's not just this year. It's looked bad for a long time.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna do this and we can't find anybody to do landscaping, I get that. So maybe
I mean,
we're
we
not gonna do
can't,
this.
but come on, I mean, what's
No, I-
the plan? What do we want for the?
No, I
plan?
agree.
You know,
This is a negligible amount.
That's
We
what
can just go ahead with this and try it and see how
Well,
it
that's what
works, and if it doesn't.
I think we
then
need
look
to
at-
ask about the salt resistance or whatever. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
would
was
agree.
going with that.
It's a fly graveyard.
I'll make a motion that we have them do that, but I would like to ask them about the salt resistance.
I would do that.
I'll second that.
Motion and second to proceed with the quote from Picture Perfect Landscapes and Design with the additional question of salt resistant grass seed. Any further discussion? You've heard, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carry. Public Works report.
Quickly, I'm hoping that you guys have an opportunity to look at the trees on Highway 212 by the gymnasium. It's my druthers that I can take them all down, but I don't want to do that without you guys saying it's okay, because I know it's gonna rub somebody the wrong way. The sidewalks are getting wrecked from them, and it's tripping hazards the way they are now.
So Dave, I have a question about that. I mean, this highway department, I mean, this is 15 years ago, what they made us do this and do the trees and all that. I mean, weren't these supposed to be, wasn't the idea these were supposed to not do this? I mean, wasn't that the
That's
intent?
exactly right. And we told them they were full of hooey back then, Jeff, I think.
Yeah.
They made us do it.
So do they need to be consulted, or is that
That's
something
what I
needs
was
to be
wondering.
permitted? I don't know. Is it in the right of way of the Highway 212, or is it on school property?
It's 212 right away.
It is, that's why I was concerned.
Okay.
I'm concerned too. But I know they're not gonna pay for the sidewalk.
Yeah, I went jogging by the next day, I seen, were you talking the sidewalks getting pushed up, I seen that.
You see people, they actually walk on the street rather than on the sidewalk.
So.
Will we have to do extensive work on the sidewalk to get it to go back down once the trees are gone?
The sidewalk won't go back down.
Yeah. Is Olivia having the same problem? Because I know a lot of trees along 212 there came out, right? So,
They've taken most of their trees out, yeah.
Yeah, they could have let them down.
I don't know if they got a permit or talked to them, but I think that MnDOT is realizing their errors and letting them do it. I would just say let's take them down this fall and the
That-
foliage is gone.
is that Mr. Hensland still there? Who's our engineer now, or district engineer?
That'd be a guy, well, no, he's the road guy, Lenon's brother has retired.
Okay.
I think if you call Olivia, maybe.
I think we should just verify.
They
I mean,
called, yeah, who their contact was, and
I'll check with Olivia Public Works and see if they did anything. Okay. Again, I wanna wait till the foliage is gone and take them down in November or whatever. They're a constant snow problem for the school. It used to try to plow that. What happens now, I don't know.
Well, I think, when we took the one down, that you couldn't see around, I think that was a hazard issue, and I agree with that, but now this is becoming a hazard issue with pushing the sidewalk, so.
And there's a speed limit sign there that,
Yeah.
one of the people got issued a speed limit sign, took a picture of that sign by a tree, and he got out of his ticket, even though there were other signs there that said of town, so I mean, the trees don't belong there, they don't.
Okay, so you'll check with Olivia and see if,
I will check with
They
Lincoln
contact-
Public Works and see how that kind of handled. We report back to Deb, okay? Okay, Deb's already asked me to get the estimate together for steel siding on the buildings across the street. John Eiler's looking at that. He did say steel prices are extremely high right now and said we're probably gonna wanna wait on that. The only reason I raised the issue was, it's budget time and something to consider. We already talked about the track area. Actually, Brian Van Ryn and Jim Flanner have got a plan together, and Dusty and I will be helping them, so. Sanitary sewer ponds are good. This 2-inch rain really helped clear the algae up. The water plant reclaim basin, we're gonna get down there and hose that out this month, and at the same time we flush out the sewers. And we'll be digging up the alley ones this year and try to get 100% of all of our sewers flushed this year, so we can start our 1/3 each year process that you guys instituted last year. Already talked about the DNR mandate restrictions, and we're gonna be painting crosswalks and curbs tomorrow. We started doing the handicap stuff today. We're gonna skip the walkways on 9th Street and Ash and 8th, and we're gonna continue to do the ones by St. Mary's and Highway 212. I wanna do again, going across North 10th Street, because the kids always park there and they need a safe place to pass. So,
We're gonna get done before fair this year though?
Yep.
Or- Okay.
Should be done tomorrow, Jeff.
Okay.
So, we're having some overheating issues with the backhoe. Visited with John Deere on it and stuff, and they're suggesting that we get RDO to look at it. I was talking to Mike Wolfel, he's gonna take his backhoe down to RDO and Marshall too, and we're wondering if we can get a piggyback ride or how it's gonna work, or have them come up here and see if they can do stuff. I believe the problems that we're having with the overheating is computer software related. We've got taking a heat temperature gun, shooting on top of the radiator and the block, and doesn't seem hot, but when that bell is going off, bang, 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 it's pretty hard to ignore and keep on working. So,
Well, I don't think you should, because I think if we did do something, it'd be an expensive fix that was negligence on our part.
all right, yeah, but there's no more warranty on the backhoe at all.
Well,
And stuff, so, one of the features that you have with the new cars, new trucks, everything, you turn the key on, the gauges all cycle from full all the way down to empty. Well, our gauges don't go all the way back to empty, so that tells me that the gauges are run by resistance and ohms. Jeff helped me out here, and it's just not dialed down to zero. And John Deere out here is telling me it's a software issue, and they don't have the software to RDO, for that one thing. We've got some other small issues on the back that are creeping up. If they have coming up here, that's fine, we can have them fix that as well, but,
Be nice if they could come up here and not have to rely on getting it back here.
yeah.
Plus if it's here, no.
Even if it gets a ride down, they have to drive it back all the way or whatever, I mean, that's happened, but. And the unit's getting to the age where we're gonna have stuff going on, so.
Well, I don't know, Bill, I'm in the opinion that we need to maintain it, and it's too expensive not to maintain, so deal with it.
Take care of what you got.
All right, anything else for us, Dave? Council have any questions? If not, thank you, Dave. We'll move on to possible uses for the remaining funds in the American Rescue Plan Act.
So yeah, there was the little informational thing in your packets, just to give you some idea on what the eligible uses are. We did spend the money on the AV equipment, so we've got a little over 95,000 left. We have quite a long time to use that, so you could be thinking about what you think is the best way to spend the money. You can use it on infrastructure, water and sewer, which is a new thing.
Really?
So, yeah, so one of the, I know we've gotten quotes for doing the sewer out to the Stamer land. That might be a consideration. It's gonna cost
So
more
it's
than that.
new infrastructure or updating
Doesn't
infrastructure?
matter.
Doesn't matter.
Interesting.
A lot
How
of
long do we
cities are
have?
going that route to do that, to do some projects. Yeah, so yeah, I think maybe, we're gonna be getting the soil borings done after the crops are out. That may tell us more on what we need to do.
And
We're doing-
the end of the year 2024.
Right,
correct?
right, for spending, yeah. Another thing that it can be used in is for, revenue loss, which you couldn't do it with the CARES Act. So there's a formula to use that they give you to use for, going from before pandemic to after. And then you can use that, whatever that dollar amount is, for pretty much wherever you want. And I did notice, purchase of personal protective equipment was on the list. And we're just conversing with some of the clerks and administrators in the county that one of them plans on using it for turnout gear.
I was just gonna say,
So-
the discussion 2 months ago.
I
Or the
I
last
didn't,
month. I thought it could not be used for,
I didn't think, I still don't know if it can be. I'm gonna get some more clarification on what exactly.
I mean, I would like to see a list of what the city needs and things that we can do on. And I'd like to have a list before we really decide that, before we do it, especially since we have time.
This is kind of just to let you know what the amount that we have, some of the things that it can be used on. There's gonna be a lot more stuff coming down. There's a lot of meetings on this stuff, and the US Treasury clarifies things as we go along, so, yeah.
Any risk they'll take it back before we use it?
Pardon me?
Any risk they'll take it back before we use it? Okay.
There's an annual reporting in October for cities our size. I can't imagine that.
I don't know if we have to wait a long time, but I look to see if the things that way, right?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. All right. The 2022 preliminary budget. Proposed budget is in our packets.
Yeah.
I just glanced through it, Deb, I didn't look in detail. Anything that's considerably different?
The only thing, I'll be retiring, we talked about that, so
than
there'll be like 3 months of,
Denied.
3 months of, 2 people working here, 3 now, whoever gets hired. And Dave had, given me some information on backhoe and a plow truck with equipment. Obviously, if it's $200,000, we can't raise our levy by 200,000.
You asked for 5
You're
year
right, yeah.
estimates, so.
What we would do is, I would want to make sure the down payment would be in the budget. And then annually thereafter, we would know exactly what we would need. So if we have the down payment amounts, we can move forward. And I know Dave is talking about looking at used stuff too, maybe or not.
No, I don't advocate that the city needs a new snowplow
Okay.
at all. I just think that we gotta be realistic in establishing a used price, you know. You can't go out and buy your $15,000 snowplow and expect to get by for 10 years on it. Just, you gotta get up there.
And then I spoke with Dan Elfring on the fire truck, and also with the financing company. And like I think they had mentioned at the one meeting, fire trucks are like 18 months out to get. And the financing company they're looking at doesn't ask for a down payment. So I wasn't really concerned about that.
That can wait
As
till
of
the next
yet.
budget year.
I did put more into the capital outlay just to start building a cushion for that.
Your health insurance go up again?
We won't know that yet, we find that out, and that
Did you add a
makes.
little bit to that?
I did,
Okay.
I generally add,
Yeah.
and then when we get the amount, I can adjust.
Cause we're kinda hearing about 6%.
Right?
Yeah, that's what we're
We're-
hearing.
Being in the pool we're in, it kind of goes, they take everybody's, and
Right.
so even if you do have a lot of high claims, it doesn't necessarily mean yours is gonna go way up. Just so, it's worked out really good for us. So next month, we'll have to approve the preliminary, so anybody has any questions, comments, or things that need to be added or changed, if you could let me know before next meeting.
So the only question is, your pending retirement, how are we gonna find, are we just gonna advertise, or are we gonna use a service to try to find a replacement? How do you?
I think
how do
we-
do that?
I would just take whatever the league recommends. I don't think it's necessary to hire a firm to do that. Just go through, I guess if you start early enough and you go through the process with what they offer as far as, the league offers and other places where you can put advertisements. And if we don't get anything. I just.
I'm asking because we need to put anything in for that.
Oh, yeah.
That was why I'm
I
asking.
didn't.
It can be
consider doing
spendy to
that.
go through a firm,
That's why I'm asking.
and you're not guaranteed good results.
Right. No, I
I
totally
just
agree.
I've heard of some bad things.
Oh, yeah, we
They don't.
we were trying to clean police officers.
It just doesn't always work out the best.
I know we've had maintenance stuff too, so I'm gonna get asking for more dollars now. We're just talking about the first responder
Okay, yeah,
budget. We've had a lot of issues with the rig,
yep,
a lot of maintenance type things, so maybe we need
there is,
just
there
to
is-
review those numbers and maybe.
Yep. there is found money in the foundation fund
Mhm.
for that. So I'm just gonna give you the amounts. Update these monthly, so if there's any donation that comes in. Okay, 65,600. So it's in the foundation fund.
Specifically for first responders,
Right,
just to be clear.
Right, any further discussion on the preliminary budget? If not, let's move on to the tax forfeited properties discussion, potential tax.
fortunately, the one property isn't on there.
Yeah.
So basically, we get this letter every year if we have, properties in the city limits that are tax forfeited. They ask if the city has any interest in purchasing it, and if not, that, the city approves the parcels for public auction or auction to adjacent owners. So I did put some information on each of those, the two properties we're talking about.
Do the adjacent owners have
I think they
higher
contact,
priority versus before it goes for public?
do you know that, Bill? Did you get?
I tried to do that, but they said
Yeah.
last minute, like that day, oh, sorry, we can't do that, it's going on to the public.
Oh, so you're public, even though it's adjacent property.
Yeah, this Mark Iverson told me, yeah, you can have, you or any neighbor can have first dibs on it, whatever. But then like that, he's like,
Yeah, cause I thought you were gonna buy that property.
I was done, but then I realized it's good against Al Tursik, I'm like, done. What's the point?
So did they contact you? Did the county office? They didn't. I wonder how the adjacent neighbors find out then. Cause they, Lloyd might be
Well, if they're part
interested.
of the public, they find
They
out
would
just like
find
the
out
rest of the
just
public.
through
does,
that,
I guess.
yeah. Cause that Kaiser property is very small.
Mhm.
You know, it's not gonna be valuable to anybody but somebody right next door.
Like the corner house that's not
Right.
across the alley. But yeah,
Lloyd Schultz would be.
well, that's across the alley though.
Yeah.
Although he owns the other house too. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as the other property, that's the one that we still haven't gotten a report from the building inspector. He was looking at those two properties, that was one of them. I haven't got the report back yet, but I'm like,
Which two buildings?
it would have been we've been publishing in the Klein,
Oh, okay.
was Bob's, what it was before. So I guess I'm not even sure what happens. I would guess that if the building is substandard, then the letter would go to the county as being the administrator for the state of Minnesota, I guess. If there's going to be, I mean, the back of that building is in terrible shape. So I guess I don't see any reason why the city would want either one of these properties.
No.
And other than adjacent landowners, I don't know what else, and that's not, they're not, that's not a large area.
Neither one, actually. The only thing good thing was one time, kind of like a Main Street.
And it's not a separate building, is it? Isn't it attached to, oh no. Wasn't, what was also in that building?
The Legion. used
The
to
Legion.
have their-
Legion was-
Yeah.
I think they were just
They've been
renting
a long time
space.
ago.
Okay,
So you've got, these are the island edges and then rumors across the alley.
okay.
I can't see either one of them. I mean, the big,
We own, we're next to it too, but we don't want it.
oh, you're on
We
the
don't
other,
want it.
yeah. The big issue with this one would be the assessment that just got for the street. So at some point, if it goes to sale, the city's gonna have to decide on how much, if any of that they want, try to recover or just let go.
Well,
I don't know if, yeah.
I'll ask the family, I don't think we're interested. I'm pretty sure.
So I should respond that the city's not interested?
Well, I don't know what we would,
Yeah,
and if we do nothing with it, then it's ours to maintain. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, I'm assuming that the city is not interested.
okay.
Brings us to the end of our agenda. Is this a record?
I think we had a half-hour meeting.
We did. All right, if there's nothing further, this meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
What's that? What do we- Oh, like, why am I surprised?
Just so you know, I think the ambulance rate